And I think you have to experience it. I think as a trader, if you want to be a successful trader and have this as a long career, you have to go and experience that. Have you been profitable in more than one market condition? I'm a trader. Like, it's what we do, right? Hey, so a lot of stuff I see online is geared around quitting jobs and going into full-time trading. It's a goal that everyone has, myself included. And sometimes it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And sometimes you're not as prepared as you may think you are. So if you're looking to take the plunge and become a full-time trader soon, or if it's a goal of yours, or maybe if you've actually taken the plunge recently and you are now full-time trading, this video is for you. I've done this journey myself. I've been trading for over 10 years now. And there are a lot of things that kind of creep up on you when you make the decision to go full-time trading. And your trading can be really good going into that period. But a lot of things you don't know are going to happen will crop up on the way once you start the full-time trading. So I want to talk about that in this video. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't have it as a goal. You absolutely should. I think trading is the best thing. But maybe you're not ready yet. And in this video, I want to just ask some questions to you for you to actually really think about and maybe plan a little bit differently if it's something that you think may impact your journey into becoming a full-time trader. So I want this video to have a lot of value. I've got a lot of lived experience here, and that's where all of this information is coming from. And if you find some value in it, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think. So I've just got a small kind of list of things I've put together that I want to talk about. And the first question that I want to ask you is, have you got enough money? Have you genuinely got enough money to do this? My advice would be to have at least 6 months of savings ready for you to not have to do anything else, for you to not worry about bringing in any other income other than your trading, which comes with its own pressures as well. But at least 6 months to not only cover your bills, but to have some walking around money as well. So you can go out and you can live your life and you can see your friends and you can still do stuff without having to be really tight and having a really sheltered life, because that's what happens when you go full-time trading. So that's definitely a major thing that you need to consider. A lot of people will say 12 months, but in this day and age, it is quite difficult to get 12 months of a yearly salary saved up. So I understand that. But I think, just having that initial plunge for 6 months takes a little bit of pressure off, and a lot of employers will allow you maybe a sabbatical. So it's something that you should consider, and also maybe not totally venture into full-time trading, having a certain side income coming in, which I've talked about before, whether that's something online, whether it's something passive through investments, or just literally anything that you've made. That's always something to consider as well, dropping down hours if that's something that you thought about, rather than completely getting rid of the job. Because once you've got only trading to rely on, obviously it sounds like, yeah, you've got a lot of pressure, but you don't know what it feels like until you're in that situation. And when you start seeing your savings going down, it's something that kind of messes with your brain the lower and the lower it gets, particularly if you're not topping it up with as much as you like. So I would say have a little bit of cash coming in, even if it's just enough to cover your bills. It takes off a huge amount of pressure. So it's a really admirable thing to want to go into trading full time. Totally get it. But sometimes you may have to do it in stages rather than just being like, okay, I think I'm ready now. And, I do think you just sometimes you need to take the plunge and experience it for yourself. But the money thing is a really big issue. However much you think you need, I would probably double it and then go, because you will burn through things. You can budget for however many things you like, but life isn't perfect and certain things will crop up. We have rising costs all over the world as well at the moment, which don't really help. And they keep going up, particularly in the West. So I would have double what you think, because you have to take into consideration a lot of things. The second thing that I would like to ask you as well is, and this is a big one, because having been a trader for over 10 years, I can see areas in my life where I've been profitable and areas where I haven't been profitable, and areas in my life where I probably could have done with going back to work or maybe going back to work a little bit sooner, or dragging out my job a little bit later. And that question is, have you been profitable in more than one market condition? And what I mean by that is, sometimes you will make life-changing money in a bull market, for example, like crypto at the moment is doing really well. It's probably coming up to the tail end of the bull market, but there are a huge amount of opportunities, and there's a huge amount of opportunity to make a lot of money. And you can look to yourself, right, this is the time now where I'm a profitable trader. Going forward, it's only going to be like this. Obviously, the conditions will change a bit, but I've cracked it, and here's my proof for it because I've made loads of money. But those times never last, and everyone's a genius in trending markets. It's quite easy, whether they're going up or down, it's quite easy to hit things and be right. And you can get carried away in those market conditions to think that you have cracked it and that you can go on and do this full time. But, in the forex market back in 2021, 2022, when all the interest rates were changing after the whole COVID situation, the markets were going haywire because every other month, every quarter, there was always some news about interest rates changing. And that's primarily what drives the FX market. And it was great. There was so much volatility. But then after that, it just kind of died down and it became a bit of a struggle. And in those times where you think you've got everything sussed out, suddenly you have an adjustment period trying to get into the new market conditions. You may not even realize that we have different market conditions and that things are going to continue after a little bit of a lull. But if you've made a decision to quit your job and completely change your life in those market conditions, you're going to get found out in the ranging conditions or a bear market. And you may have made a ton of money, but you can also lose it really, really easily and very, very quickly. So I would say if you've got 6 months of profitability under your belt, that's not enough. That's not enough of a decision to say I can go and do this full time, or I'm going to go and give it a crack full time. I would say you probably need at least 2 years before you can say, right, now I'm at a point where I know I can do this year on year and I can expect growth. But 6 months just isn't enough, because it could just be luck in the market conditions. And, it gives you kind of a false sense of an idea of what you are actually capable of. Real professional traders are built and made in bear markets and ranging conditions and low volume and low volatility conditions, because the real skill of trading is there. It's about making the money and it's about keeping the money. And you have to learn that the hard way. And if you haven't learned that yet, then I'm afraid that going full time, you're going to get hit with a very hard slap when the market conditions change. So if you've got a year of profitability, it could just be, again, the market conditions. But if you've got 2 years, it's more likely that you've got a genuine skill and that you should pursue this. If you've got 3 years, even better, of course. But looking back at my own career, where I've had flashes of profitability and thought, like, that's it, I've cracked it, things come tumbling down in a bear market or in conditions where there's no volume for months. Like summer months can be pretty awful, obviously, and then around Christmas time as well. And the times where I've put real conscious effort into longevity, where I've put effort into ensuring that month by month I'm profitable rather than just having like big flashes of money come in, that's when I realized that the real skill in longevity in this and being able to do it as a career comes from being able to survive in the bad times and not focus on the good times. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying in regards to, have you got enough money? Even though you may think you have a lot, to cover maybe 2-3 years of expenses, it can go very quickly, and your emotions can just, skyrocket out of nowhere and go on a death spiral, and suddenly you've got 6 months of money gone in an instant. So the market conditions can be a false sense of achievement and false sense of what you're actually capable of. So I would consider that as well, and I would make sure you're journaling. You can see all of this as well, but I would say the longer you are profitable for, the better. 6 months just isn't really enough data, in my opinion. And then I would also say, if you have a job now that you're looking to quit, bearing all of that in mind, have you got something where you can go back to it if you need to? Because you will 100% have a culture shock when you start trading full time. And when I worked in the corporate world, they offered 6 or 12 month sabbaticals, and maybe that's an option for you. But I think if you're really looking to do it and ready to take the plunge, I would speak to your boss and just be really open and honest about it, and have that backup option before you look to fully quit. Because obviously you want to do it, and wish you every success and hope that you are successful and don't never have to go back to work. But in my experience, my understanding of it is that it kind of comes in waves. You kind of have one go at it, and then you're going to have to fall back. You have another go at it, you're going to have to fall back, and then eventually you'll crack it, because you realize once you're in it, what it actually takes to be a trader full time. There are certain things that are going to play up with you, which you are not experiencing when you have stable income coming in from elsewhere, that you're maybe topping up with trading income, but there's a sense of security that kind of like gets pulled away from you. Suddenly you may find yourself watching the charts too much because you've got all of this time. If you've got that kind of 9-to-5 mentality, if you're coming from like a corporate job, or if you're coming from a job where you have set hours every single week, you're kind of automatically conditioned to believe that when you go to the charts, you need to put that kind of effort into the charts as well. And it can lead to over trading, and it can lead to a complete breakdown in the systems which you're accustomed to, because you're not emulating what you were doing when you're in a job. You're just basically applying what you think you need to do from a job mentality into trading, because there is a sense of guilt that if you're trading the hourly time frame, for example, and you're waiting for every hourly close, let's say for 3 hours in a row, you've not done any work, you've not done anything on the charts because there's genuinely nothing to do. You're going to feel like, I haven't done anything, I've not been productive, I need to go make and trade. And that may not have been something that you've ever experienced before when you had a job, because your mind is occupied elsewhere. So like these kind of things are going to creep up on you. Suddenly when you're in drawdown, knowing that you have to rely on this income to pay your bills or to extend this time away from work, or, if you don't make it, you will have to go back to work. It becomes harder to sit in drawdowns. It becomes harder to take the losses. When the profits are up, it becomes harder to let them run. All new experiences which you think you have sussed are suddenly like completely different because you've put the full emphasis on trading. So I think you have to experience it. I think as a trader, if you want to be a successful trader and have this as a long career, you have to go and experience that. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, have you got a job that you can fall back on if you need to? Or have you got contacts within the, career space that you've got? Can't think of the right word at the moment. Or have you got contacts basically that if you need a job within a month of searching for it, you've got someone that can line you up with something? That's really key as well, because then you've got like a little bit of a fallback option that can make you rest a little bit easy. But I've got mates that are really shit hot developers and system architects and stuff who probably like in the top 1% of their again, I can't remember their careers, but their career space is what I want to say. But top 1% of their field, that's it. But the market's bad at the moment. I don't think if they lost their jobs, they'd be able to find something very quickly, and that becomes a real big struggle. I've had a time when I had to rely on getting some freelance work, and I'm now, in a position where if I need to get freelance hours, I can go and get them. And there was a time when I needed that, and it made my life a lot worse because I had to dip into savings because it took a period of time to get into a position where I could make money again, because the market was just like down at that time. So I would say, make sure you've got that. All these things are going to creep up on you along the way. And I think, it is important just to say, fuck it and go for it. You have to understand what it genuinely takes and what actions you need to make in your life and your personality in order to change to be the person that is required to be a successful trader. And the only way you can get that is by going in and doing it. And I would say absolutely do it. 100% go for it. Go and chase your dreams. Maybe you have got it all sussed out. I err on the side of caution with everything. I always look at the risks involved. I'm a trader. It's what we do, right? So I would say, make sure you've got enough money. Absolutely. It takes the pressure off of things. And more than you think you need, because things do creep up. My car broke down. And suddenly that's like a $2,000 bill, which I hadn't budgeted for. So these little things happen. Make sure you've got some contacts that you can get into employment for. And maybe, it's not even about going back into work full-time. Maybe it is just part-time. Maybe it's shift work. It's something you can fit around your trading. But you're going to have to develop a brand new lifestyle, basically. So you have to go into it with the mind that trading is your business. You are an entrepreneur, and you need to think about how you can bring income around your trading rather than fitting trading around what other income you've got. But sometimes the way isn't always just like full-time trading. It is completely different. And you will go through a culture shock and a learning period because it is completely different. No one's there telling you what to do. You don't have to commute anywhere. You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to have meetings. You don't have set lunch breaks and all this kind of thing. You don't have annoying colleagues. It feels like you're being unproductive, and that is a big thing you're going to have to get over. So work out a routine as well. I've talked about that a lot on my channel to fill up my day, particularly going down to intraday trading. When I quit my job, when I went full time with trading, I was trading on the medium time frames, and I over traded. I looked at the charts way too much and completely changed my processes. And I ended up jumping down to the 1 minute charts and the 5 minute charts because it was a better way of being full time, I found, for me. But it's all part of the learning curve. You're going to have to go through these stages to understand what it takes to be a full-time trader and what kind of trader you're generally made to be a full-time trader. If you've got a very busy life and you're trading higher time frames, because that's what you're used to with work and trading around work, you're going to have stuff that fill your day so you can continue doing that. Otherwise, it's going to be very weird for you. But 100% chase your dreams, 100% go for it. Maybe even just experience a month, take a week off work and see how it feels. But yeah, ease into it. Don't just take the full plunge. And I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have, let me know in the comments below. And your next video is up there. It's there. It's still there. Just click it.